South Africa International Relations Minister and his team arrived in Nigeria to meet with the Nigerian government. Guys, I want you to watch this video. Listen carefully to the agreement made by Nigerian government and South Africa. For the few days now, it is trending everywhere. People are carrying the propaganda that they rejected South Africa. I want you to listen to what they discuss, the agreement in this video. This is what they discussed. The meeting was held in Nigeria.
Some discussion in relation to that, but the current stage, there is no such an agreement for compensation. What I can state is that in terms of South African law, anyone who has their properties or who has their assets, there is a legal way for them to claim whatever property that might have been taken by anyone. So the procedures and the processes in the South African legal system enable such a process to unfold. But there was no discussion now, and there's no agreement. But if there is any Nigerian national who has a property, the property is in their name, it remains in their name until it has been legally and officially transferred to any other person. So I will believe if it's a house, it's a building, it will still be in that person's name. And if it's a car or whatever, it will still be in that person's name. So they will still have a legal claim. So those issues can be dealt with still in our legal system on each case, on its merits and its demerits. Thank you very much, Ambassador Sola Eneka Nolayai, for welcoming us here on behalf of President His Excellency Tinubu, for me to deliver the message of His Excellency President Cyril Ramaphosa from the Republic of South Africa. Indeed, the engagement was very robust, and that we reached some consensus on some issues and some we could not reach. But it's the nature of the binational and the bilateral relations of the two dynamic countries. Ongoing engagements will enable us to reach some consensus on those. The issues that we agree on is that the South African government condemns all form of xenophobia, any form of intolerance or related intolerance happening in our country, and that no South African national has got a right to take the law into their own hands. This is the responsibility of the state and the state alone. We have also raised the concerns of the South African government and the South African public with regards to some of the Nigerian nationals in our public system, particularly those who commit crime. And we must be clear, it's not all Nigerians, nationals. Some who do commit crime and who are within our system, and the crimes include drug peddling, the crime of wire fraud, and many related crimes that we are concerned about.
It's a pleasure to have you with us. So the minister has concluded that diplomatic mission to Abuja, where he delivered that official message from President Ramaphosa. Just talk to us about that message. What was he to state on behalf of the president?
Yes, the minister met with a very high-level delegation designated by President Tinubu to meet with us. And it was quite fortunate that we met at that level, because we were able to really have a robust discussion with our Nigerian counterparts. And part of the engagement focused on how we see the origins of the current protest that has taken place in South Africa around immigrants. And we highlighted the fact that the incident in Kukompo really did set out to really light a match around issues that have been long lingering amongst the citizens of South Africa, particularly when it pertains to the conduct of some, not all, Nigerian nationals. And this was an important discussion to have at that level. And the Nigerian counterparts understood this. You would recall that, in fact, the acting High Commissioner at the time, at the Kukompo incident, did really move fast to apologize and to de-escalate the matter. But one of the things that was quite clear is that this has been a sentiment that has been within the South African populace for some time. And at a bilateral level, it was high time that we had a very candid discussion about it. The Nigerian counterparts were very clear that they don't condone any acts of criminality by their own nationals and expect that our system would be able to process these individuals through the rule of law, as we have done. We were able to say, as of July 7, when we last checked, there were over 500 Nigerian nationals in the criminal justice system for all manner of infractions. And so this is a matter that we continue to process. But one of the things they highlighted was the fact that it's important that we are not seen as having a system that allows individuals to take the law into their own hands. And we agree. That is something of concern. Whilst we welcome the right of individuals to protest on any matter, immigration, rule of law enforcement remains the state authority to enforce.
Because when perusing through your statement, pardon me for interjecting there, it did seem as though there was some level of commitment on both sides to de-escalate that inflammatory rhetoric, if you will, in the public discourse. But when we speak of inflammatory rhetoric, what exactly is it for citizens to properly understand? Because ordinary citizens can say, if we say we live in communities where we know of perhaps a Nigerian individual who is trafficking drugs in this area, would that now be considered inflammatory rhetoric in public discourse? Or really that is them putting forward allegations about a lived reality?
That's precisely what we put forward to say. I think South Africans are not Afrophobic either. They are talking about their lived experiences with people they live with in communities. If you look at the migration patterns in South Africa, immigrants are integrated into our communities, and particularly townships and where black people are. So because of our history of spatial planning as well, naturally we live together, we compete for the same resources, we compete for the same jobs as well. And one of the issues that we also highlighted to that point is that we are dealing with still a labor market that still does exhibit exploitative practices where undocumented individuals are absorbed into the labor market at the expense of South African nationals. This is a concern. That's why President Ramaphosa, in his SONA speech, had said we need 10,000 labor law inspectors to address this very issue where there are undocumented migrants in the system being exploited. We need to ensure, as a country of rule of law, that we address that. So we had that discussion, and it's an ongoing discussion about how we classify this problem. We were very clear that South Africans have a particular lived experience, and that's what informs some of these sentiments. But it's not to say that all South Africans are xenophobic, like we can say not all Nigerians are criminals, for example. So it also goes both ways. Not all South Africans are xenophobic at all.
So essentially there's no desire to profile the law-abiding Nigerians in the Nigerian diaspora as something other than what they are, which is law-abiding. But if we look at the other concerns, I know that you speak now of the installation of the Igbo king. There was also the area of concern around involvement of some Nigerians in drug trafficking, but also concerns around the involvement of some Nigerian foreign nationals in the hijacking of buildings in the CBD.
Yes, and that's a matter that we put up front. So we highlighted the fact that in areas like Hillbrow and Sunnyside, there were at some stage reports of them being designated no-go areas to South African nationals and an exclusive jurisdiction of Nigerian nationals, and that's something of concern. Again, the Nigerian counterparts acknowledge that that is completely unacceptable, and when we have every right to enforce our laws on that matter, and we should do so, provided we just treat individuals of any country in a humane manner. And of course we accept that we have a country of rule of laws. Another very contentious issue on the table along the realm of inflammatory rhetoric was this notion that there are extrajudicial killings in South Africa by the South African police services. And we have said where the South African police services have gone beyond their mandate, we have IPID, which is an independent body. It investigates these type of issues, and it will be ventilated properly through the rule of law. But what is clear is that these are not state-sanctioned killings or state-sanctioned actions. This is law enforcement in practice, and sometimes, unfortunately, there are incidents that would require further investigation, and that is the case. And we will continue to provide feedback on the outcome of those investigations. But to label these as extrajudicial killings or deliberate state action doesn't help us. And we have a country that's proud of our rule of law system. Right now, we are watching a very, very important process of the rule of law unfolding in South Africa. So in essence, we are transparent and we are committed to accountability. Where there's wrongdoing, there are processes to hold people accountable.
If you're still in South Africa illegally and you have your business illegally, Don't expect that government is going to fight for you and you are going to win. You hear that correctly. That even the Minister of International Relations of South Africa said it openly. There is nothing like compensation discussed during the meeting, except according to the South African law, if your business or your investment, your building, your car is registered by your name legally, you can come and claim it. But during the meeting, such things were not discussed. They're only talking about Afrophobia, Xenophobia, the way they are unaliving people in South Africa, which they come agreement that all South Africans are not Afrophobia. Likewise, all Nigerians are not criminal. They are not into crime. So I told you guys, you guys thought maybe this woman is joking, don't know what he's doing. This government will still come together. But we as a citizen, let us help ourselves. Remember who died in our in-laws. Yes, they can only carry the propaganda, but they cannot replace the person. I'm telling you the truth. So don't be clapping. Our government is taking action. They are not, just think about it now. The people that they relocate, that they evacuated from South Africa, how many of this have they established? How many have they given job? Have you sit down to talk about it? It's the main reason why you should be respecting any country you are. Stop insulting South Africans. Stop. Follow their immigration law. If you want to stay there, try to be legal. If you are not legal, better go back and come back legally. That is what they said.